TNT on the Time Warner Cable lineup, Channel 32. This is Pink Shorts, a news program. I'm very excited to do today's show. I'm wearing savvy from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do. You wanted. It's on the Vest in Stores Audio Experience 11 song motivational speaker. Richest man in America. Universe, world, galaxy. Pink the short way I save your file. Save me some of that impeach cobbler. Highest spacing in the world. Tweet us very early or late. FRESH underscore JORDNZ. Every 20 minutes of the hour. I wish I could do the ceremony, Matthew. Remember, 311 author speeches training process of your new president-elect. American United, please place all plantainers. Must be in 3 ounces. Whoa, 18 USC 2511. We're intercepting wire or an electronic communication. Whoa. 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 Man, we're waiting for the president here.
Hi, everybody. 8 years ago,
8 years ago,
in the early stages of what would become the worst economic
the
crisis
worst economy
of all time. It was a scary time.
Scary
We didn't
time.
even know
Halloween.
where the bottom would be. But thanks to your hard work,
But thanks to your hard
your
work,
determination, and some smart decisions we made. Today's a different story.
Today's a different story.
We turned the recession
We turned
into
the
a record
recession
streak of job growth, creating more than 15
million
private sector jobs,
private sector
and cutting the
jobs,
unemployment rate in half. Getting wages to rise
getting
again
wages to
was a harder
rise.
task. Even before the recession,
Even before the
working Americans
recession,
faced
decades of slow,
between 1980
between 1980
and 2007,
and 2007,
real wages
barely grew each.
But because
of our
policies
dream
we put
book.
in place are working,
Let's get to the
working
source.
families are finally seeing their
Finally
wages
seeing.
and incomes rise too.
It's Myers.
Since 2012, wages have
I don't know
grown
if he
around
does.
20 times faster than they did over the almost 3
Does he
decades
like
between
us? I don't
1980
know.
and 2007. Last year,
last
typical
year,
household income rose by
$2,800.
$2,800. That's the single biggest increase on record.
biggest increase
And across every race, group
in America.
Becomes growth.
Oh, we have a pause in the video.
Poverty rates fell. We lifted 3.5 million people out of poverty.
Poverty.
1-year drop in the poverty rate since 1960.
Since 1960.
What's more,
middle-income families
boost in incomes. In part because
we had a
18
dream book,
states and the district, as well as more than 50 communities, have given millions of Americans by raising the minimum wage.
wage.
And states raised their minimum wage, stronger earnings, low wage jobs,
compared to states,
strengthening benefits
too.
Last week, for example, I took action to make sure up to 1 million more workers
1 million
can
workers,
earn 7 days of paid sick leave
7
on the job.
days of
We're
pay.
also helping states expand opportunities
expand
for workers to save for
operations.
retirement.
Retirement.
There's a lot more
to
strengthen the middle
to
class.
strengthen the middle class.
Making childcare more
Making
affordable, for
care.
example. Making sure women
Making
earn
sure
equal
women.
pay for equal work. Guaranteeing
Guaranteeing
family
sickness.
increasing
Increasing
minimum wage.
minimum wage.
Preparing workers
Preparing
for the jobs of the
workers.
future.
Future.
And closing tax
tax
loopholes
loopholes.
just the wealthy.
Just the wealthy.
corporations. And we just need a Congress.
We just need a
cares about these
Congress.
issues. One that will finally
One
put
that will
politics aside
finally
and act on these
common sense ideas.
That's how we'll build.
That's
the
how
progress
we'll
we've
build
made over these past 8 years.
Over these last 8
And achieve
years.
One thing we should all agree
One
on.
thing we should all agree
Securing a
on.
brighter future
Securing a brighter
of all
future
of our children.
of all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
And have a great weekend.
everybody. Well, that was the address from the president. Today's show is sponsored by MerriweatherA.Law, Inc., America's first singing attorney. We make the law sound wonderful the way it should have been. Retroactive law besides everything. Also sponsored by the Fan World Tour. Get added. Internships are available. I love the song Close the Doors, Seatbelts. The music will sink into the sound system. Temperatures on 67 degrees, star 82, star 69. Return phone calls. I am Verizon. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon. Advanced LTE. America's #1 fastest 4G internet. put it together. It's a pizza and me. Hello, Mr. Ernst. To get the finer things in life, my co-host and I was Currency, Food, and Eulatos Perjury, B Siri, PH, or J.O. BIM Dream Book. We had a dream book, Mr. Ernst. What was it about?
Scientists and from federal officials. And those instructions are geared
towards
protecting people. And we believe that it's important for people to listen to those instructions.
It's about St. Louis. Somebody's still here.
To stay up to date on the weather forecast. Those of you who've been covering this story know that the weather forecast.
Well, Pink Shorts is filmed in front of a live democracy republic, both expose and approve. Thank you for writing MREL. They knew. Safety video. This is Auditorium Station, Auditory Nerve, and Cebus iPhone. Fluff it up. Thank you, Fluffer. Leslie Wolf and Pam Winfrey Leslie. Restitution of all state and federal funds is applicable to volunteer status. 18 U.S. Code 1385. What's in your wallet? This is Pink Shorts Verbal Contract, Civil Code 1622. Dismiss. The use of land zoning, loss prevention, electoral college 3, Ojai Red Bay without the E, Tim Toyo Tom, SW1, and communicating with your patents via my client's medulla, etc. Not limited.
Southeast could be facing.
Or any other part of the left or right hemisphere, and the brain is in agreement and acceptance of identical evidence, and discretion of all content will be used for Pink Shorts and Merriweather businesses, not limited to any business we haven't mentioned. Contact us at 594-1443. Miss Cleo, 1-800-98-ISABEL 086C, Microsoft 37, Weather Channel, Hurricane Matthew. It's in the sky, satellites. Two-party consent laws required to record Mr. Ernst or any White House entity and the President of the United States. Confidential communication, including a private conversation discussing Matthew or any other government project, telephone call. This is a news program.
Potentially in harm's way.
In harm's way, Florida. Without the consent of all parties to the conversation, please evacuate. This is Penal Code Section 632. I don't know why it's Florida.
We've developed an expertise, and we intend to use our resources.
Statutes of limitations don't apply. Intrusion claims last for 2 years. According to 335.1. Remember, recognize intrusion and forms occlusion, however, versus your postcode. According to the federal tort claim form, fill it out completely. Damages in sum certain for injury to loss of property, personal injury, or death alleged to have occurred by reason of incident. The claim must be presented to the appropriate federal agency within 2 years after claim accrues. Failure to complete, execute this form, or supply the requested material within 2 years from the date of claim accrued may render your claim invalid.
Prosecutors obviously released documents yesterday.
These documents, the claim, is deemed presented when it's received by the appropriate agency, not when it's mailed.
The Department of Justice also made clear.
Due to the creation of these forms, we're denying a duty of confidentiality and breach of patient confidentiality denied. To prevent a critical noncompliance, you may fine us.
Our investigators are comfortable discussing
and refund your money.
They'll make the decision.
Please reference intrusion seclusion claims and the 4 elements on our website. On Google Documents. I'm the attorney guy, not the black guy. Thank you, attorney guy. Thank you very much. Verbatim software created by Int in progress. Victorious, press play, cue it. Victorious is now on.
Made public about it.
Oh.
It will come from the Department of Justice.
Come from the Department of Justice. We can't do a tribute. We can't praise this man. He's a monster. We're improving some show. Trinity's real piece to
I'm going to hesitate to draw too many connections between these 2 cases. Each case is unique. Some of the similarities in the cases have been well documented publicly.
Josh, you make us videos. Why?
But let me start by answering your question about the reforms that have been put in place.
Yes, those forms.
The administration has put in place.
The administration has put in forms
through the National Insider
through the National Federal Tort Claim.
The Office of the Director of National Intelligence.
They're the largest employer.
We have established government-wide
put it
Minimum
together.
reforms for these
We have to
kinds
have
incident
ways
threat
of limiting
programs to
risk,
prevent
liability,
the theft or
veteran
unauthorized disclosure
benefits,
of sensitive information.
sensitive information.
The intelligence community
Well, how do
has
we limit
launched
these
a
benefits?
series of continuous evaluation programs to help determine whether an individual
Hello,
with a security
CDC. Can you help
clearance
us with this question, please?
needs it and should continue to hold it.
Continue to hold.
That effort has been effective.
You're
and
working
actually
for the
reducing
largest
overall
employer
number of
in the
people that hold
world.
security clearances. That number has fallen about 17% just the last several
Imagine
years.
their liability.
There also has been a requirement.
There also has been a
that
requirement.
Individuals who hold a security
Individuals who
clearance
hold a
need to,
security
submit to a
submit to
reinvestigation every
a
5 years
reinvestigation
to ensure that they are
to
complying
ensure
with
that accidents don't happen at Walmart,
the terms
the
that they
nation's
have
largest
committed to.
public sector employer.
What we've also tried to do is to
What we've
enhance
also
the
tried to
quality
do
background checking, investigations, background
investigations,
and there is a new
and
agency that's
there
been
is
stood up
evidence that
to ensure that
to
those
ensure.
investigations are more
Look at his
thorough
legs.
and more efficiently conducted.
We can't look at it.
So
You
this is
know, we
certainly
just can't
something
look at
that,
his legs.
the administration takes seriously, and there are important
That was our
lessons that
fault.
we have learned since the case of Mr. Snowden. But
Mr. Snowden.
Darlene, I think that this risk is always going to be there.
But
as
we have to
long
do
as
this.
there is a desire to share sensitive information across the government. And we know that there is a risk of
There
not
is a
sharing that
risk.
information. You'll recall that this is one of the principal insights of the 9/11 Commission, that there was too much stovepiping inside of the federal government. There were particular pieces of information that had they
We
been
can't
shared
do a
across the government,
tribute.
could have been effective.
Mr. Ernst, this video has been
So the
edited,
sharing of this
altered.
information is critical. It's just critical that individuals
An
who are
excerpt
entrusted
from
with
Torius.
this information keep the commitment that they've made to the American
This is
people.
about video editing.
Let me close by saying
Let me
that
close by saying,
these are
Josh,
the
do you have
kinds
the
of risks
comment on
that our
video
government
editing
has faced
from the
since
NSA,
well, at least for a very long time.
CSS?
And we were talking a little bit earlier today about
Look at the video.
an entirely different case, but a situation about 15
I
years
think you're
ago.
thinking it
There was
can't
an
be real.
individual
Trinity always has been.
was arrested by U.S. officials because he was accused of stealing some.
Get away with that. What's the victim's name?
So
We can air the footage as long
we
as
can
she's
see
not
Mr. Snowden,
identified.
and this individual
No idea. In the
is
White
unique.
House.
Each is unique.
Get a forensic
Obviously,
video
Snowden
expert to
case
verify that this
got
footage has
some
not
extra
been
attention
altered. Get a
because,
neurologist to make sure
frankly,
that
he
this
was
woman is
publicly
actually
on the
unconscious
lineup.
and not acting. Those two things check out. We'll air it tonight.
This is something that our government has been
Thank you
confronting for
for
a long
being
time, and it's something
here
that
now for
in some ways
me,
is even more complicated
for
given the
him.
modern communications tools that we have access to now.
We have
that make it
access to
easier
now.
pass this information along. Again, there's a
Alan,
benefit to that in terms of
thank you
enhancing
for
information
taking my
sharing,
call. It's a
but
pleasure
there's
to
a
finally
risk,
meet you.
and there's a risk that we're working very diligently to
You're defending Oscar.
Does the administration see this latest case as serious?
Okay, fair enough. Have a seat.
Too early to make that comparison.
I studied a
I
case in
think,
law school. A doctor was falsely accused,
it's
Joe
certainly too
Muscarella,
early for me to draw
of
that
killing
kind
his
of
wife in their
connection, to offer up
home.
that kind of
And even though he
assessment.
swore another man did it, the police rushed to
Our
judgment.
investigators have
The husband was convicted and spent 12 years in
Justice are conducting
jail
their own
before the real killer was
investigation,
found.
and they will do so with a sense of
Nobody
urgency
even looked
because
for
they
the real killer
recognize how significant
because the whole world had already
mistakes are
condemned the
in cases like
husband.
this.
You keep stoking media fires
But I'll
against
let them
Oscar,
say
and
what
Sarah's
they
real
are,
killer will never be caught.
offer an assessment if they're prepared to do so about just how serious
I
it
don't
is.
want you to stop. I want you to get out there every day and remind people that an amazing woman's life was tragically cut short. Just don't
Roberta,
encourage the
United States has
police
been deeply engaged
to limit their search to one
in
man.
international
Because as hard as it
reforms
is, it may be
to violence in Syria.
Oscar did not kill Sarah.
We've obviously been involved in that effort for a number of years now. The United States just yesterday participated in an ISSG meeting. This is the International Syria Support.
And for that, I am eternally
That's the team.
sorry.
This is a group of
There's nothing I
couples
want
of
more in this
countries
world
who
than to
are
find her
concerned about
killer.
the situation in Syria
You
and have assessed
and
they
me
have a
both.
significant national interest in resolving the situation inside of Syria. And the United States has worked effectively in a leadership role in that group to try to bring the international community.
An expert from
together around
Torius.
I can tell you that U.S. officials, I believe, are meeting today
Thank you.
with our European allies in Europe to discuss the situation inside of Syria. This is
Hello, Alan Wells.
that is held at a variety of levels. But the focus of those discussions today was on the situation in Syria. The United States is obviously very focused on supporting UN-led efforts.
Yeah.
There are a variety of those. There's obviously the efforts that are underway by the UN Special Envoy, de Mistura, to try to reduce the violence inside of Syria. And there's also been extensive work that's been done at the United Nations Security
How do you
Council
convince
over
him?
years to try to
What the footage show?
focus the international community on potential solutions.
Oh, I'm an actor.
We continue to
Look
be
at this
deeply
video from the White House.
concerned
That's
about
Levi.
the
He's
tactics
Africa Chief
used
Technology
by the
Officer.
Saudis and the
Why would they send me
Russians
photos to incriminate his best friend?
that are focused on harming civilians? That's it's deeply troubling what's happening there. And the United States has been deeply engaged through diplomacy around the world to try to address it.
But I guess very specifically on
So these lyrics sound familiar, Mr. Ernst. Media.
Is the president considering and doing anything to try to prevent it from falling beyond diplomacy and
This is what came up on these videos.
Well, again, Roberta,
Vicky Tolliver, she's an actress. I put call an agent to track her down.
To the many problems that are plaguing Syria. And we are working urgently to end the violence in Syria and in Aleppo.
Look at Swoo.
We have been very focused on.
Have you seen these photos before?
All the channels that I just described. There is an important role for the United States military to play in terms
And before
of
that, you mailed it to me. Why did you do that?
Those military efforts have moved aggressively.
If you don't talk to me, I'll assume that you're trying to sell out your employer.
To apply significant pressure to the leadership of ISIL and other extremist organizations that are operating inside of Syria.
True, but you sent me those photos for a reason. And I've got a theory. With Oscar in jail, you're the acting interim serial of Paraspot.
Was the target.
Maybe you'll get the job permanently.
Strike.
Come on, the show says that. But either way, I'm running the story. It's your call.
So our military is deeply engaged in the counter-ISIL campaign. But we're also trying to address the root cause of all this chaos, which is the political situation inside of Syria, and we're working diligently through diplomatic channels.
Just a waiver part. Oh, this is the waiver part.
Just briefly, 44 Afghan troops who are in the United States for military training have gone missing over the past 2 years.
This is the waiver part of the show.
I guess I'm wondering how
No, not yet.
About the questions that.
But I'll figure out some other way.
And security, given that they were training with.
Let me guess, Louise is locked in her office.
Well, Roberta, I can't speak to any individual cases.
Let's go.
I'm afraid my colleagues at the Department of Defense may have more information on this. Okay. Michelle.
I'm just going to read to you something that.
The entire world has been praying for the recovery of this man who has changed lives not only through his music, philanthropic endeavors. We have a shocking exclusive video, but we have Myth of the Man or Predator. Cue the video.
Thousands of pages of classified documents, hundreds of thumb drawings.
Look at this video, Trinity.
Dozens of computers and
Good
servers.
Lord.
He appeared to have his own server farm.
He's
enough to
opening.
operate his own cloud.
No.
So I think it's one thing if, he started doing this last week and they suddenly caught him. I mean, I know he's been in custody for 2 weeks.
Raping an unconscious woman was captured overnight to the LA Sports Center. Here to discuss the validity is the neurologist Dr. Gina Matheson and forensic video expert Stephen Lake. Let's start with you, Mr. Lake. We have a technological age. We can always trust what we see. Is it authentic?
If this person was able to do this, it's believed for that amount of time.
Well, Michelle, I'm not going to be able to discuss.
Dr. Matheson, let's talk about the victim. Obviously, we can't see her face. Is it possible she's just acting?
I'll leave it to them to disclose exactly.
How can you be
Those
sure?
investigations have uncovered so far. Those investigations are obviously ongoing. The kind of steps that we have taken to mitigate against so-called insider threats are significant, and
It doesn't matter what we're seeing is real. This is a heinous crime. Are you kidding me? Look at the phone lines. They're all lit up.
improving the background check system, reducing
Louise, good night. Good guest. Toss to a break.
making some
Dr.
technical
Matheson,
changes to the kind
thank
of
you for being with
access
us tonight
that people are given.
and sharing your insights. We'll be right back.
There are a variety of
Since when do you pull the plug on my stories, especially one that we have?
steps that we can take to try to
This is
limit
the kind of story that's going to generate buzz and win
risk that is
awards.
always going to
And
exist.
correct me if I'm wrong, but those are
this is
two
more
of the reasons you
significant
hired me.
given the kinds of
It's not
technology
defamation if
that's
it's
available
true.
now that allows for the efficient
That's what it's about,
transfer of
protecting
information.
CNN's parent company, Time
Again,
Warner.
that is largely a good thing in terms of making the U.S.
The video
government
is
more
out there
effective,
already. Pick it
integrating
up.
our defenses in a way that can have
Louis'
a positive
interview is
impact on our national
compelling.
security,
The
but it
evidence is
does
convincing.
include an inherent risk, and this is a risk that predates this kind of technology.
Oh,
I
God.
think what is unquestionably true is that the vast majority of the men and women in our intelligence community take very seriously the responsibility that they have to the American people to treat sensitive information protectively.
Forget
They
it.
understand the
I'm not sorry
consequences
about
that
anything.
protection that information has.
This is
for
my
our
show,
national
and I'm going to
security.
produce it as
They
I
understand
see
that the
fit.
effective use of that information enhances our national security. These are individuals who, in some cases, have the kind of expertise
Oh, this is
that would allow
good.
them to collect a much larger paycheck in the private sector. But instead, they use that expertise to
Verbatim
protect
software
American
in
people
process.
in a government job.
The government job.
And that's
Yeah, but I
a
can.
pretty clear
Blah.
indication of their patriotism. But look, for these individual cases, this is a risk that exists.
I'm not taking
And
a case.
as the investigation moves forward,
Josh, I'm not taking a
if there's
case.
more
I'm
that we can
sorry.
learn about additional
not taking
protections
it.
that we should put in place to prevent something like this from happening again, we certainly will.
I want to keep my
learn from the
job.
situation, and if there are additional reforms that are worth implementing, then we won't hesitate
Bruno,
to do
can
so.
you turn
because
it
the
up?
president has made this a genuine priority.
There just seems to be, in such a secure operation, such a gaping hole. This person had the ability to take home classified information over the course of years. Wouldn't you agree that?
Hello, Media. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon Wireless, Advanced LTE, and Dreambook. Where's the source?
From them. But
I want to be the victim and convince her to be on the show. Yeah, but the video is real. I don't want her to be dismissed or crazed. And Trinity's wife has to hear that he's a predator.
Evade detection.
Megan, ahead of me, the victim's name was Alexa. I'm here tomorrow at 9. Megan already talked to her and explained the situation. Megan knows you.
We'll want to learn from that and implement.
Will you come with me?
Reforms or solutions that would prevent others from doing the same thing.
Okay, and the latest voice that we've heard
Yeah, no problem.
is from the UN's
But you gotta say it verse.
calling as others
Stand behind her.
for a limit of the use of the veto in the Security Council. Do you support that? And does the administration think that that would actually do any good, especially at this point, to try to make changes in what's happening in Syria?
There certainly has been.
That's the only reason I'm talking to you.
The United States has been disappointed at the way in which
I'm head of HR at LA Sports
and to a
Center.
certain extent, China
So it was easy to get
wielded
backstage
their
passes.
veto authority
I've
on
always been a huge fan of Trinity, and when he was so down to earth, he
international
said his
efforts to
throat was sore from the show, so he invited me to the dressing room to have some tea.
We've been
It was
disappointed
just
that
no
they
invitation
have
like that.
used that veto to
Drink a couple of sips and
Assad.
started feeling woozy.
There have also been movements at
The next thing I knew,
the
I woke up
Security
alone.
Council to
My skirt was ripped
raise
and
concerns
hiked
about
up
the
my
conduct
hips.
of individuals in that conflict,
Everything
and to
hurt.
ensure that
My
they
left
are
leg.
met with some accountability. Those
Yes.
accountability measures have been blocked.
I found out that I had been drunk
So
with
we've
a
been
combination
deeply
of
concerned
currency
by
and
the way that
GHB.
Russia has used its veto
The
power
doctor said
on
it
the
would
UN
be
Security
an unusual combo.
to
I was lucky that it didn't kill me.
prevent as much action from the UN as we would like to see.
No. I didn't want to talk to
There has been a
anyone.
broader,
Just wanted to go
and
home.
in some ways, it's a more esoteric discussion about
I
proposed
sent you the
reforms
video
to
so the
UN
world would
Security
know what
Council
happened.
and the way that it works.
But Megan told me your boss
There
is
have
making
been
an
proposals
apology
to
for it.
enlarge it.
Say it's a fake?
Friends in India are certainly interested in benefiting from reforms like that. But as it relates to the situation inside of Syria,
Just me, maybe.
our concern, our most urgent concern,
I have no memory of
is
what
with
happened.
the way that
But I knew that there
has
were
used
security
their veto
cameras
authority,
backstage. One of the security guards is a friend.
on the Security Council.
I asked him for the footage, and he violated his probation protocol to give it to
Should
me.
be done and should
If that
be
gets out, he'll get fired.
looked at more closely now, or do you feel like now is not the time for that? That it's not really going to do anything at this point?
Well, I think many United Nations processes are characterized by the length
I'll
of
do
time
it.
it takes to
I'll go on the show.
complete them. And truly, the idea of reforming those processes is also likely to take a long time too.
Contingency.
We've expressed in other contexts our support for
Our support
set of
for.
reforms that could make the United Nations more efficient, more effective, and potentially even more
Let's
representative.
skip it up a little bit.
But our focus right now is on trying to reduce the violence in an urgent situation inside of Syria.
Excerpts from Torius.
Just, I guess I wanted to follow on a couple things Michelle asked about. First, the reason that the veto conversation is just
Hello, Media. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon Wireless Advanced LTE.
sanctions against companies
And Elite Evasions.
chemical weapons use in Syria. I know that you
We love maple syrup and waffles.
Would the U.S. be willing to pursue sanctions with Europe and other allies outside the framework of the UN to address concerns in Syria?
Well, there are other.
I went to the dressing room where
being able to work effectively outside of the auspices of the UN to implement sanctions
I don't
in a
remember.
coordinated fashion to maximize the impact of those sanctions. So
I don't
the situation in
understand.
Ukraine is obviously the best example where the United States has been able to work.
Levi's
effectively
running
with
two
our
Wi-Fi
European allies
networks.
to impose
This one's a corporate account
a tough
with a
sanction
massive
against Russia.
firewall, but the personal firewall is beginning for my attention.
Would be among the first to point out that the
How else am I supposed to help my boss? I'm in.
on Russia in concert with our European allies as a
I'm
result
taking
of
initiative.
Russia's actions in Ukraine
Potato,
have not
potato.
yet achieved the desired result. We haven't seen the change in
Fine by me. Levi sent
strategy
me one to my
on
boss.
the part of the
The
Russians
photos are
in
LHA aired.
Ukraine. We
Susan
haven't
abused
seen
Oscar having an
indicating
affair.
their clear respect for
Yeah.
the,
Don't you think your boss would
territorial
love
sovereignty.
to get a look at this computer?
But we do know that those sanctions have had an impact on Russia.
Downloading now.
Russia is
A few more
paying
minutes.
the price for their actions inside of Ukraine. And that price
Everybody
they have
thinks
to
I'm
pay
in on the past because
the
of my
ability of the
dad.
United States to work effectively
I gotta
with
prove
our
myself.
European partners to impose those costs. That's
So,
something that we didn't do
you got a
didn't
boyfriend?
do through the UN, obviously, because Russia
What?
has
Too personal?
veto on the UN Security Council. So
I wasn't
that's
asking
one
you
example
out.
of where we have been willing to work
I like to
outside
know
the auspices
things.
of the United Nations, but in a way that has had
This is Dream
impact,
Book
even if
right
we haven't
here.
yet achieved the desired result.
Dream Book.
What I would say is our preference is always to work through the UN
Kiss me.
when it comes to implementing these sanctions, because it means that even more countries are able to coordinate their
I've inspired your
actions with the United
muse.
States, which essentially has a multiplier effect in terms of the strength of the sanctions and the size of the cost.
No, sir. I was just showing my girl
But
the
outside
kind of
we do
house
have
I'd buy her
options,
someday if
and
she
we have
forgave me.
demonstrated, an ability to work outside of the UN
I'm an idiot.
to
I had to
achieve
pick
this
up just one thing.
So I guess the point is, in this case, I wouldn't rule out multilateral efforts outside of the UN
Yes, sir.
to impose costs on Syria or Russia or others with
A
respect to
laptop
the situation inside of Syria.
inside of
We've done that
Syria.
in the past, and I wouldn't take that off the table in terms of the
Off the
options that the
table.
president may consider in this situation.
On the data theft, I know you spoke to Michelle yesterday, and then again this morning at some length about steps that you've taken, particularly related to federal contractors. But in both this and the Snowden case,
Hello, Media. Today's show is sponsored by Verizon Wireless Advanced LTE.
and so I'm wondering if this is
That's my
inspired
spot. Mine.
any sort of reevaluation on whether that firm should be involved in or receive U.S. government contracts on highly classified data.
I'm on it.
to their employees.
Louise, we're going to add something to the top of your show. Check your pockets.
Huge theft.
I'm not aware that the investigation that's been conducted thus far has detected any wrongdoing on the part of
The wrongdoing.
So I'd refer questions about that to the Department of Justice. My guess is that
My guess
since
is
they're still in the midst of the investigation, they're not likely
investigation.
to talk about that a whole lot.
Talk about that a whole lot.
But
But
we want to learn as much as we can about
we
the
want to learn as much
situation,
as we
as I
can.
indicated to Michelle.
To Michelle,
If there are lessons that we can learn,
that's on the
and
video.
reforms that can be implemented to prevent something like this from happening again,
Implemented.
we certainly want to do that. But as long as we are sharing information,
As long as we're sharing information,
sensitive national security information,
national
that is critical
security,
to protecting the country, this kind of risk exists. But
we have a
the
guest
risk of
here
not sharing that information is even higher, and that
producing the
we
show.
learned after 9/11.
The GAO released a report yesterday that found that the Obama administration spends about $1 billion on PR annually.
Look at them.
You guys have added.
One of the women could be your
667
We have the power to make sure that Trinity doesn't assault another woman. That's more important than corporate profits, CNN.
This is raised.
If anyone asks, I was out of the office at the meeting.
From government groups and from critics on the right.
Let's start with you.
Maybe talk about why it's important for the administration to have added all those staffers to be spending that.
When I saw that tape in your show, I can't believe it happened.
So it's hard for me to assess the conclusions they've reached. What I can just say in general.
I'd like to thank each of
is
my
that
guests
the
tonight on
administration has
CNN for
made
the
it
honesty and
priority
courage.
to
It's been my honor to be witness
interact
to your
with the
stories
public,
tonight.
interact with the press corps,
I hope that this
be
is the
as
first
transparent
step in
as possible.
justice being served, and that by telling your stories here on
That is,
CNN, you can find some
work
measure.
requires dedicated
Go to
professionals
break.
who are
I'll wrap this up
interested in
after the
furthering
break.
that goal, helping the American people understand exactly what the
Julia,
administration
your guy hospital called you
what we
back
have
and sent you a
prioritized and,
copy of Trinity's.
what our
He
success
didn't have a
has been in
stroke.
implementing
Apparently he was
the
drugged.
agenda laid out by President Obama.
Ketamine and GHB. And with the mix of that, Trinity's lucky to be alive.
Pretty strong, both in terms of the substantive progress that we've made, but also in terms of the effective way.
Julia, the beheading video came in. It's been authenticated and Senate approved with the requisite assets. Just us.
There's not much that we do around here.
Time to top
isn't the
15
source of,
seconds and we'll relax.
vociferous criticism from those on the right.
Got it.
There's certainly
Louise, we're ending the show with the breaking news. The teleprompter is on.
FEMA, do you have any more specifics about
But it's
the
exclusive. She left the
size
scoop.
and scope or metrics of the
It's
federal
not
response so far? I know that there have been teams and resources prepositioned.
LHA has breaking news exclusive
Full or dozens
concerning
of
missing American soldier David Baxter.
What?
Now confirmed
Well, I
dead.
don't have a whole lot of new metrics to share with you.
Baxter was beheaded by an insurgent who kidnapped M&T him several years ago. A warning, this footage has been edited for the broadcast,
to the
but will
GAO
still be
report or
upsetting
not,
for our
but,
viewers.
But yeah,
M&T Bank, what are you doing?
Information for you. Let me see what we can do on that. Look, but there is, I can provide you a little text.
M&T.
There has been, there have been a number of resources.
M&T, no.
This is a relatively new strategy that's been
New
implemented,
strategy.
under the leadership of
Under
Administrator
Louise.
The idea here is to essentially
Updates on this story have been posted
supplies that are likely to be needed
on
in areas that are just
LHL.com.
outside
Good night.
of the affected areas, so that after the storm passes, this
Louise.
resources are all in one place and not too far away from where they're needed most. So that work has been going on for several days now, and we can provide you some additional information about the quantity of those supplies.
Louise, what's wrong?
The other thing that I can tell you is that there are a number of coordination centers that have been set up up and down the East Coast.
Knock, knock on the
And
door.
those coordination centers are now operating
Go away.
around the clock, and they're fully staffed, and that requires a lot of people to ensure that those operations can continue.
Louise, I'm so sorry. I want to make things
The other
right.
thing that we have prioritized, Ron, and this is something that the
Just tell me why you're so
president
mad.
is discussion with
You've got to believe in luck.
is his
What?
concern about potential.
When I was a
power
reporter
outages.
embedded in 45th Infantry in
Anytime you're dealing with a
Afghanistan,
storm like this, you want to
there
try
was a
and get
UN
power
interpreter
back
with
up as soon as possible.
Pascal.
That's certainly true in this case. So
It
some
wasn't a
of the
job
supplies
to worry
that
about
are
navigation, but he
mobilized
always
are
carried this
fuel
compass.
generators, for example, so that people who
His
have
father had it in
generators,
Vietnam and came back in one piece, so
get them up and
Pascal
running,
said it was a good luck
but also so that
charm.
critical facilities
In the
like
middle of
hospitals,
forsaken place, he told me,
can also
you've got to believe in luck.
their generators.
It was
There
what
also
brought
has
us
been a lot of
together.
important work done to
How could I not fall in love with a man like
pool
that?
the resources of utilities in regions
One
of
day
the
I
country
went
that
to
are not
Ford
affected by the
operating
storm,
base,
so
was
that
the
they
combat
can,
team.
share their
Pascal
personnel
tossed me this
and their
compass and said
trust
I'd be
and
safe
to help
And
those
I
communities
was.
that are experiencing some
But it was
widespread
taken
devastation.
hostage by insurgents at
Some of
night.
that coordination work has
They
been
beheaded
done
him
in
in
advance as
sea.
well, because this
Bridges.
is obviously a priority that we're mindful of. Power is going to go out, and people are going to be challenged.
Why didn't
operating
you tell me
environments
that?
where Power is
Honestly.
is not on. We just want to try to do as
You've
much
always
planning
been a
as we
little
can in advance
judgmental.
so that we can get it on as quickly
It
as
is not true.
Have there
You
been
think I'm just some
any
ditzy
disaster
popsy girl
declarations,
when I'm not on the air.
requests? I believe
You
the
never
governor of
said
Florida
asked me
came
that.
out
Why?
personally.
Why the booze? Why the drugs? Why the endless parade of men? If you weren't so busy looking down on me, you'd understand.
Of a storm. This is a
Life is
relatively
short.
new innovation as
And
well.
you don't
Again,
believe
to
in luck anymore.
expedite the
I believe in
provision of
destruction. I
federal
believe in
support
work.
in a situation like this.
I don't
There
want to
is a
think about
process
Pascal
that FEMA
needed in some filthy room begging for
considers
his life.
when they receive an application
You
like
took
this.
that away
I
from
know
me
they'll work
tonight.
quickly to evaluate and
Drinking.
respond. But
Respond.
Louise,
I'm not aware that they
I'm
have
so
yet.
sorry.
They are. They will.
How many
they will
years
respond.
have we worked together?
Initial response, I believe.
8.
What
How
it
many
is
times have I
something
asked you
that
not to turn
it's,
on run a story?
that
Once.
goes through FEMA first. The
Once.
application is
I
considered
get the
in
show
process
always
there.
comes
I
first,
do
but
believe there is a step that
this one
requires presidential sign
time,
off, but
I was
that
hoping
is
our
not a
friendship
process
would
that
be more
takes,
important.
very long. The president relies heavily on the advice he receives from experts at FEMA.
Consideration of the president
You ready to go?
altering his travel plans.
At
Hell
this
yeah.
point, there's no plans
Way past
on the
margarita
part of the
time.
president to change his travel. He obviously is traveling to a part of the country that is
An excerpt from
not in the
Torius,
path of the storm.
ABC,
Even as the
9
president
p.m.
travels, he will stay closely attuned to federal officials who are on the front lines of
We'll resume
supporting
tomorrow's episode tomorrow for the last
state and local officials.
5 minutes of the
response.
OTO.
That's the proper role for the federal government in these situations. It's that the federal government plays a supporting role in terms
Today's show
of
sponsored by
providing
Verizon
supplies,
Events
different advice.
LTE.
But
Look for our
ultimately, it's the
tweets.
responsibility of state and local officials.
We have new tweets
manage
here
the
for
response.
you
That's why
guys.
we're encouraging people right now to listen to the instructions of state and local officials. They know best about what's needed to protect their communities.
Little
They're also
Chulex,
going to know
hello.
what's best.
Let's take a look
about
at
what's needed
this.
to help
Please
the
follow
communities
and DM us to
and
get
the role of the
started.
federal government is to support them as they do that.
Verizon Wireless Events LTE.
Is there a national security meeting?
Thank you. Presidential debate in St. Louis.
I'm not aware of any.
One day after
formal
Satellite
presidential meetings
Day.
like this. The president obviously has to.
Josh, how does it
this
rain?
morning. But the president meets regularly
the
with his national security
national
team.
security
I
team.
don't have any details to share.
It's
with you today.
the ionosphere.
The Syrian army last night warned
Thank you, Matthew in St. Louis.
Is
Goes
the,
very well together.
Is the administration
The solution is key.
is
Main
the
Street.
assessment that
Goodell.
Aleppo is about to fall? Is that conceivable in the way?
Hello on the
you
other
see the
side.
situation there on the ground now? And is there
Girl on the
a
train. Hello. How you
plan should
doing?
that happen?
Well,
Yeah,
first
how
of all, I
you
think it's
doing? Girl on the
outrageous
train.
that
How you doing?
a military organization
Goodell. Hello. Who's
attacking
playing football today?
civilians for years,
4 years.
using barrel bombs,
Weaponized.
weaponized
Bro, we didn't have time for our TV guide lineup
chemicals,
tonight.
industrial chemicals like
We were
chlorine,
exerting Torius.
bunker busting bombs.
Verbatim.
For
We
them to
look forward to
suggest that
Missing's
somehow they're now
episode.
looking out
Missing.
for the interests of civilians.
What are we
is
missing?
outrageous.
Today's show is sponsored by Verizon
so-
Wireless Events LTE.
What I'll say in general is I think it's an indication of why the world is so concerned about the situation in
We
Aleppo.
gotta go. Sprint.